Hey, it's Chris Miles. Welcome to another episode of New on Music Row. As always, I'm excited that you're here in case my face doesn't show it because I've been told I got to smile more. But anyway, so we'll see how this works. I'm just kidding. Anyway, I'm so glad you're here. We've got a lot of cover, of course. Did you see last week's episode? That amazing and awesome interview with Andrew Salgado. If you haven't seen it, check it out. By the way, in certain areas, you can actually download it on a podcast, either on Apple or on Spotify. It'll be available in other markets or other streaming services as well pretty soon. But you can just catch the interview if you want to as well on Spotify and on Apple Music. So let's jump right back into it, shall we? Remember last week we started off with Bottle Rockets by Scotty McCreery, featuring, of course, Hootie and the Blowfish. It's got that Hold My Hand chorus in there. Did you listen to that song? Did it take you back to the 90s like it did me? Yeah, I the first time I heard the song, I was like, oh, this is amazing. It's awesome. And of course, Hootie and the Blowfish is on the track. So how could you go wrong with that? And here's the thing. And this is not up to date total counts because, of course, obviously, people are streaming the song right now. But last time I checked, it was 1.1 million streams. Yeah. So I mean, if this isn't another number one Scott for Scotty McCreery, then I might as well get out of this business, because I mean, holy mackerel. Anyway, next we had Glass Half Empty by Midland. Of course, you probably know them best from what's their song? Drinking Problem, right? You know that? Remember that song? Yeah. Check out Mackenzie Carpenter singing along with them. I Wish You Would. I love that song. Awesome and amazing. Where did the streams end up with them? Well, again, like I said, these streams are not 100% accurate because this is, just a reading at a particular time. And of course, people are still streaming this stuff. But last time I looked, 531,000 streams. So, that's going to hit some airplay if it hasn't already. And if you're not hearing these songs in your local market, you can always go to the radio station and be like, hey, can you play this song? Yeah, they will still do that. Even though they don't do it that much, they will still do that. That's a little insider tip for you. All right, moving on to the next insider tip. Sam Williams, have you heard about him? You probably heard about his grandfather and his dad. His grandfather, of course, Hank Williams. His dad, Hank Williams Jr. Well, he's got a song out called Lose You Too. That, what did it have? About 13,800 streams, give or take. Check out No Problem by him and Dark Water. Those are two of my favorite cuts from him. I'm going back to the 70s now. Anyway, all right. I Dream You, Faith Schuler and Eric Palsy. Where did that end up? 15,000 streams. So on the climbing side, but of course, like I said, this is, when I took a look at it like 10 minutes before the show. So who knows? By the time we're done, it could go up to like 16,000. Who knows? And then last but not least, on the radio, Clark Hill. And actually, Clark Hill is going to be the focus of my Spotlight Star of the Week, the Rising Star Spotlight of the Week. We'll get to that in just a second. His song on the radio, about 2,000 streams. So, but Clark is kind of coming back into things, and we're going to get into more of the nitty-gritty on that when we get to that particular segment of the show, but more to come on that. So that's where we ended up from last week. Not a bad run, if I do say so myself. I know there were a couple of artists on there that were on the lesser-known side, but that's what the show is about, trying to get you not only the artists that everybody knows and loves, which, speaking of that, this week has a lot of those artists on it, but then also a couple artists that maybe you don't know about that are kind of on the verge, or maybe they're already past the on the verge point, but they're not like headlining just yet. But, one of these days, I think they will. And my track record kind of speaks for itself. Anyway, no, I'm just kidding. So let's move on to the 5 picks of the week. I know the ego is really big today. That's because my cameraman is just like egging me on. So I'm acting for him and for you. Not really. I'm being genuine. But all right. So, big pick of the week. This one kind of hit everybody by surprise. I'm sure a lot of people on the inside of the industry knew that this song was coming out, but I didn't even know that this was happening until I saw it on the AMAs. Did you see the American Music Awards on Monday night? Yeah. Did you see Lainey Wilson with Somewhere Over Laredo? Did you see that? If you haven't seen it, oh my goodness, you got to check that out. Amazing song, but an amazing performance of that song on as well. So, of course, that's my number one pick from the week. Lainey Wilson, if you haven't heard about her, well, then you haven't been listening to country music for the last couple of years. I mean, award after award. She's been the she's been the CMA Artist of the Year. I mean, I could just go on and on and on about her. And speaking of that, I mean, I kind of called it back when Heart Like a Truck came out that, she had a song that was going to kind of catapult her career. course, before that song, she had Things a Man Ought to Know. If you haven't checked that out, check that out as well. My favorite song by her is Watermelon Moonshine, another big hit for her as well. And then also 4 by 4 by You, which was her latest, or is her latest. But Somewhere Over Laredo, I think, is going to kind of somewhere over the 4 by 4 You, you know what I mean? Anyway, Lainey Wilson, what can I say? I mean, absolutely amazing, wonderful talent. She's an amazing individual. Got a nice big heart. You can just tell she wears it on her sleeve, and it shows in her music as well too. I mean, how many times have you sat and listened to Heart Like a Truck or Watermelon Moonshine and kind of found yourself in the story of that? In particular, Watermelon Moonshine. I know there was a lot of guys that she dated. Well, a lot of guys that claimed that they dated her right back in the high school years, and they were like, "Hey, that song's about me, man." Yeah, and she said, "No, it's not." Right. So anyway, I got to quiet it down. My audio guy's like, "Oh, that was a little too loud." Anyway, I can't help it. I'm excited. Up next, Chris Stapleton, "Bad as I Used to Be," which is actually from the F1 movie soundtrack, or Formula One movie. F1, you can't really say that, right? Because that's more like a fighter jet. Anyway, so from Formula One, the movie soundtrack, "Bad as I Used to Be," it proves again Chris's power as just an amazing crossover country artist. I say crossover because he's got some blues to him. He's got some of that rock and guitar to him. And then, of course, just the deep roots country that he does as well. I mean, we all know and love him for Tennessee Whiskey, right? "You Should Probably Leave," which is my favorite song. And then "White Horse," another great song by him as well. But "Bad as I Used to Be," check it out if you haven't already. I think it's going to be his, I don't know, I'm going to say it. I think it's going to be his next number one. It's a great song. A little on the rockin' side, so there may be some people in the country music industry that might be, "Oh, that's not country. It's too much rock and roll." But hey, I mean, there's other artists out there that are doing the same thing, and they're doing famously, I should say. Up next, out of Malibu, California, and you're looking at me going, "Malibu, California? Who is doing country music out of Malibu, California?" Kind of like that, what was that? That salsa thing. What was it? New York, this stuff's made in New York City. Paste picante sauce, right? Anyway, I digress. So "Realize" by Colbie Caillat. She'd had that song out, I think it was like I don't remember the date off the top of my head, but she had about 5-6 years ago. She had released that song out in like what would be considered like the pop world. Well, now she teamed up with one of my favorite guys, Mitchell Tenpenny, to do the duet on this, and it is absolutely amazing. Check it out; it's going to be a great one. Of course, it's like a re-recording, a duet, if you will. She's never done a duet before. If you don't know much about Colbie Caillat rather, make sure you check out "Bubbly," "Try." "If You Love Me, Let Me Go," featuring Russell Dickerson. So she's, kind of dabbled in the country music. Last album was a little bit on the countryside as well, too. So I think she might be making that transition as well. She also was on Jason Mraz's "Lucky." And then one of my favorite songs by her is "Meant for Me." But again, like I said, this is going to be another one of those it's kind of a chart, climber. Probably do really well for her. Maybe top 5. We'll see. Next up, "Sounds Like a Memory" from Rob Fitzgerald. I think this guy's got an up-and-coming career. I think he's somebody you should be checking out. He's Canadian, but he splits his time between Canada and Nashville. And let's see what else. He's got an amazing songwriting crew behind this. We've got Aaron Goodwin, we've got Skip Black, and we've got Phil Barton, all writing this song for him. "Sounds Like a Memory." It sounds like it's going to be a great song, if you ask me, and I think it's going to do well for him. If you don't know much about Rob Fitzgerald, well, check out some of his stuff. You can find it on most of the streaming platforms. I listen to Spotify, and no, that's not like a free advertisement. I guess maybe it is a free plug, but that's what I use to listen to some of my music if I'm not listening to the radio and things of that nature. But "If Country Was a Town," great song from his to check out. "The Man My Daddy Made," and then my favorite song is "Forever Together." Another one of those wedding songs. Like I said, it goes back to me and the whole, like, when I was a wedding DJ and like did like private parties and that kind of stuff. Bar mitzvahs. Yeah, I know. Bar mitzvahs? Yeah, anyway, we're not going to go there. And then last but not least on the list, Taylor Holder, who I don't think really needs much of an introduction. He's got over 19 million followers on TikTok. This guy's an up-and-coming artist. He's from Alvarado, Texas. "Die in Flames" is a great song from him. Nothing But Neon, another great song of his. "In This Time in This Truck" is one of my favorites, and then "Someone You Knew," also another track of his. We'll go with the track route instead, because I did cut earlier, right? God, I sound like I'm from the 70s. Anyway, I'm not. So the name of the song from Taylor Holder this week, "This Ain't You Leavin'." Like I said, this guy's career is kind of catapulting, and I think you want to be along for the ride because you're going to enjoy a lot of the things that he does, just like I do. So let's recap the 5 picks of the week. Right, "Somewhere Over Laredo," Lainey Wilson. Again, that's a no-brainer. "Bad as I Used to Be" from Chris Stapleton. That's from the Formula One movie soundtrack. Check that out. I think you're going to love it as much as I do. "Realize," Colbie Caillat duetting or teaming up with Mitchell Tenpenny to redo that song. Absolutely amazing. I love it. It's great when artists can take another one of their a song out of their catalog and then give it a twist. It's got a little bit of a country flair to it. Mitchell's of course on it. Mitchell, you know him. I can't think of some of his stuff off the top of my head, but we'll edit that out anyway. So, but Mitchell, I mean, I love the guy, and he's going to be in town like in September or August in my local area in the Chicagoland area, and I'm looking forward to seeing him as well. Love a lot of his stuff too. Next up, "Sounds Like a Memory," Rob Fitzgerald. And then last but not least, "This Ain't You Leavin'," Taylor Holder. That's going to round up the 5 picks of the week. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Leave me some comments in the comment section. Let me know. I'm always checking everything out, trying to respond to you as quickly and as fast as I can. So if you see something, you know something, you got your finger on the pulse, you got an up and coming artist, so you're like, hey, this guy is somebody, or this gal, or this individual, this band, whatever, is somebody you need to check out. Let me know in the comment section as well. And maybe we'll talk about them. Maybe I'll even be lucky enough to have them in an interview. Which, by the way, I've got another interview lined up, so we'll have some great stuff coming up for you all summer long. Make sure you're sticking around here. All right. So let's hit that spotlight on the rising star, or my rising star spotlight, as I like to call it. Clark Hill. Why is he on my radar? Well, here's the thing about Clark. Clark kind of had an interesting childhood. Grew up with a family that, a lot of, we'll call it conservative ways, so to speak. And then, growing up with family gatherings, conservative because he spent time in church pews, rather. He was in the church choir, and, Friday night football games, all the kind of the environment that he grew up in, as well as, complexities of the household, alcohol abuse, strict discipline, and just kind of the things that happen in like everybody's household, but maybe not everybody kind of talks about it. Clark's story takes a turn at 17. He becomes a dad, kind of young, as a matter of fact. And while he was 17 years old, his two biggest things were football and music. And as the story goes, eventually music took over. And while he was raising his two boys, he decided that he was going to kind of catapult his career. Of course, he's a huge Elvis Presley fan. He loves to impersonate him. And that's kind of where he earned his local fame. He's a big Leonard Skinner fan because he grew up in, the American heartland, right? Or sandwiched right between Jacksonville and Gainesville in what is called Stark, Florida. And for some of my Marvel fans, no, it's not Tony. Anyway, but a great little town to grow up in. Of course, Leonard Skinner, one of his biggest influencers, because, that's where Leonard Skinner used to call their hometown. A little free nugget for you there in case you didn't know that. And you can hear some of that Southern rock influence in his music as well. And like I said, Clark, of course, turning his life taking kind of a dramatic turn, like I said, when he was 17. He was in high school. He was training to be an EMT. He was training to be a firefighter. And, then all of a sudden, bam, he's got a kid. So he's got all of these things to kind of tend to. Can you imagine, like, just the rapid growth process? If you're a child of, like, if you're a single parent child like I am, mom or dad wasn't in the picture when you were growing up, or maybe they weren't living with you, but they were still in the picture. You kind of know you had to grow up quick. I mean, I was the latchkey kid, let myself in to my apartment, my mom's house, my mom's place when, I came home from school and stuff like that. It can force you to grow up rather rapidly. And then Clark kind of got into his music career with the support of his family. His wife and kids were like, yeah, do it. So he did it, did fairly well. And then 2000 hit. And for most people, the pandemic kind of put the kibosh on a lot of people. Clark had something else that happened to him in the year of the pandemic. Unfortunately, that is when his father took ill and life took another change for him. And he had to kind of create a new chapter in his life. And then at the same token, right around that time, give or take a year or two, his wife left him because of some of the other things that were going on. So his life is a story of profound loss, the passing of his father, and then battling alcoholism as well, because he grew up in a family in a household where it was there. All of these things, just to say that it's awesome to see that this guy decided to pick up his career and run with it, even in the midst of all of this stuff that's going on. And this summer is the summer that's going to catapult his career. He's got a ton of things going on in the spotlight. On the radio, it's his latest hit, which if you haven't listened to it already, it was in the top 5 last week. Make sure you take a listen to it. Absolutely amazing song. And like he likes to call himself, he's country with a twist. He says he likes to blend Southern grit with nostalgic soul. Some interesting influences of his, like when he talks about the bands and stuff that he grew up with. Leonard Skinner, of course. He said he grew up with Prince, being a Prince lover, so he kind of blended some of that Leonard Skinner and Prince flavor in. And then he even goes to Boys to Men. So a ton of real big names as far as his influences are concerned. And you can hear it in his music. So Clark Hill is your Rising Star of the Week, the Rising Star Spotlight of the Week. Check him out. Waylon and Merle, a great song of his, Perfect for Me, kind of an awesome ballad, as a matter of fact. I'd love to see him do, I think he did, and I don't remember if he hasn't or if he's going to, but to do like a wedding version of that. It seems like everyone's doing a wedding version of songs, and I keep talking about it because I keep running into it. Everywhere I go, like, maybe it's the stream thing. Maybe the stream has realized that I like these wedding versions of songs, and that's why I keep seeing them. But back to the songs you should check out for Clark Hill. Pecan Pie, or Pecan Pie, depending upon how you want to pronounce that. People in the South are looking at me like, no, that's not how you pronounce it. Drink in My Hand, and then my favorite song is Swerve, and if you listen to it, you'll kind of understand why that's my favorite song. So anyway, Rising Star of the Week, the Rising Star Spotlight, Clark Hill, check him out. I think he's got amazing potential, and I think we need to get behind him and kind of give him that lift that he needs. So let's take a look at the Times and the Country News Roundup, shall we say. Well, not shall we say, that's what it's called. We'll take a look at birthdays from this date in history, and of course, a couple little tidbits of trivia, so to speak, about what happened on this date in country music. Of course, we're talking about May 30th, and in 1964, a little gal born in Ashland, Kentucky, whose mama was, Naomi. Does that name hit a bell for you or strike a bell for you or anything? How about if I said that the gal I'm talking about is Winona? Yeah, exactly. Winona Judd, born on this date, May 30th, 1964. And of course, we all know and love her because she was part of the Judds with her mom. They scored 14 number 1 hits. And then after the band disbanded, Winona began a solo career. She had, it's just got a ton of hits underneath her belt. The first 3 singles, all number 1. She's His Only Need, I Saw the Light, No One Else on Earth. I mean, this gal has an amazing career and just an amazing voice. I mean, she's got so much power, just a powerhouse. I love her. Like, when I think of great artists, great vocalist, great female vocalist. Like, I think of Ann Wilson from Heart, Winona Judd, or Winona, if you want to, however you want to refer to her. Another one that's got some great powerhouse to her. Celine Dion, another one as well too. Just they're amazing powerhouse voices, and that's exactly what Winona is. My favorite song from her is a song called "Tell Me Why." Check that out if you haven't. And then a little extra trivia for you. Right now, Lilo and Stitch, the live version is out, but back when the animated version came out, she did a cover version of Elvis Presley's "Burnin' Love." Check that out because she does a phenomenal job. So happy birthday, Winona Judd. 1964, born on this date, May 30th, 1964. Again, happy birthday to you. On this date in country music news and country music history, 1970, Merle Haggard was number 1 on the country music album chart with "Okie" from Muskogee. Or Muskogee. People have so many different pronunciations for things. It's absolutely amazing. Anyway, the album won the Academy of Country Music Award for Album of the Year in 1969. And Merle then also won Single of the Year for "Okie" from Muskogee, as well as Top Male Vocalist as well, all back in 1970. Moving on to 1998, one of my favorite country songs, one of my favorite older country songs, "Forever and Ever Amen." Remember that song? Yeah. Back on this date, 1998, Randy Travis was back at number one on the country chart with Always and Forever. His second album, which had a couple great singles from it, Too Long, Too Gone, Too Long, rather. I Won't Need You Anymore. And then Forever and Ever and Am, Forever and Ever, Amen. And then I Told You So, all of which reached number one on the Billboard Hot Country Song charts on this date, May 30th, 1998. And then jumping ahead in the time catapult, time capsule, if you will, the time traveling machine, I guess, 2007. Billy Corgan led the top spot on the country charts with Good Directions, which was written by Lake Bryan and Rachel Thibodeau. It was the third and final single from Billy's 2025 album, Doing Something Right. Remember that song? Yeah, I'm sure you do. Anyway, also, it was his second number one hit. And the song spent 3 weeks at the top of the country Billboard charts. And of course, like I said, doing something right. It must be doing something right, right? Remember that? Yeah. It was funny. I got a little quick story. So when I was doing radio, I was in the building that we're in. We had a couple of different stations, and we had a gal in the afternoons. I was on in the afternoons on the country station. This gal was on the afternoons on the rock station, and her name was Dawn. And I was in there one day, and she was like, "Yeah, She's like, "I didn't really picture you as a country guy." I'm like, "I love country music, the stories and this and that." She goes, "Uh-huh," and then she goes, "And some of the way those country boys look," and I was like, "Wow." And she goes, "Oh yeah, I like country music too." Turns out, she turns around and she tells me, and especially that song, she's like, "Well, not only do I love Billy Currington because he's easy on the eyes, but I also like that Doing Something Right song." And I mean, it's funny how when you have conversations with people, you can kind of learn a little bit about them, right? And who would have thought that the girl that was on the rock station was actually into country music? She said she played it for her chickens because she's got like 20 chickens in the backyard. She lives out in like the boonies and stuff like that. But I was like, yeah, sure. You play them for your chickens. I thought it was because she had a thing for firefighters, but I don't know. Anyway, I digress. So that's your look at the country news roundup on this date in country music history. Crazy story, I know. Just some of the weirdest things just happened to me. Speaking of weird things, not really weird things, but speaking of things that I think we should give a little more love to. This is the part of the show where I like to turn it over and give you a sneak peek into a song or an artist, a band, or something like that I think needs a little more love in the country industry. There's an artist out there by the name of Dallas Smith. He's been around for a while. He's Canadian. He released a song back in 2023 called "How Do You Miss Me," and it was okay. I mean, that's the thing about Canadian country artists is it takes them a while to kind of build up their career here. Not like say like Bryan Adams, who like pretty much his career is because he was even though he was Canadian, I think he was bigger in the U.S. than he was in Canada. It's not really true, but I just kind of made it up on the spot because it sounds good. I mean, he was big all over the place. But you think a Canadian artist, and you kind of go, they were bigger in Canada first. I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell. Well, Dallas Smith making a name for himself in Canada, and I think we should be listening to this song more and more. Actually, it's one of the songs that since it got re-released a couple weeks ago, I think at the end of March or early April, he went and did a duet with one of my favorite newer country singers, Alexandria Kay. So you already know this is why I love the song, because I love Alexandria Kay. But the two of them together in this song is absolutely amazing. And like I told you, I'm a lyrics guy. The melody of this song, it's kind of rocky country, poppy, rappy kind of thing. It's got a soulful feel to it, right? But the thing that caught me right away was the chorus of this, right? We're talking about basically "How Do You Miss Me?" I think you can kind of figure it out. It's a song where two people have broken up, but they're not really over each other yet. That stage when you're in the relationship, when you just got out of a relationship and you're like, oh man, I wonder what that person's doing. I wonder this, I wonder that. Yeah, well, this song speaks directly to that. And the chorus is actually absolutely amazing. I'm going to read it to you, right? We'll go on. Or do you miss me like crazy? Or am I crazy for even thinking about you? Either way, girl, tell me the truth. Again, this is like the bridge later on. Are you out with your friends like I'm out with mine, trying to pretend like you had a good time? Do you hide it behind your glass of wine like I do my whiskey? How do you miss me? Girl, are you dying to ask how I've been? type out a text, but you don't hit send. I mean, the lyrics in the chorus alone are just they're amazingly awesome. I'm not going to go on and read the rest of the song for you because you should be listening to it right now. As a matter of fact, close the podcast down and go listen to the song. No, I'm kidding. We've got a few minutes left, so don't just hear me out. But I mean, just that chorus alone. And he wrote the song previously. Like I said, he released it in 2023. Now add in Alexandria Caillat in the mix, and oh man, the song is like blockbuster. This is that song that I've been listening on repeat. I'll admit, I'll give you a little insider of me. I'm that guy. Yeah, I'm about to embarrass myself, but it's okay. I'm that guy who'll drive down the street. I have my radio cranked up to like 23. So I'm like that. I'm like Billy Madison, right? Although I'm not playing Billy Madison songs or like songs from that movie. I'm playing like the hottest country stuff and I'm singing it at the top of my lungs and I'm like loving it and having so much fun. This is one of those songs that I have literally like hit the repeat button where this is the only song it plays like 6 or 7 times in a row. Do you do that like I do? Like when you first listen to a song, you like listen to it, just repeat repetitively so you can learn all the lyrics, even though like the lyrics are in the app for you. I don't even bother. I just do the lyrics myself. And then sometimes what happens is I go back and I go, oh, that's not the lyric. Oh, oops. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, that's my pick of the week for a song or an artist or whatever that I think needs a little bit more love. How Do You Miss Me by Dallas Smith, rather, featuring Alexandria K. Check it out. I think you're going to fall in love with it just as much as I have. Like I said, the chorus hooked me, and I think we need to be talking to people and saying, hey, play this song some more. So anyway, hey, that's going to do it for this episode of New on Music Row. I'm so glad that you joined me. Of course, next week, got another episode ready and wound up for you. I have my top 5 picks, and who knows what else we'll have going on. But I look forward to seeing you then. Click, like, subscribe, do all the things you need to do, leave comments, and let me know. And hopefully one of these days, maybe we'll be featuring something that you were talking about. Until then, have a great week, everybody.